Hey mamas, and welcome to the Entering Motherhood podcast. I'm your host, Sarah Marie Bilger, a wife, mom of two, VBAC mama, and doula. Join us every episode to learn from professionals, special guests, and moms just like you, ensuring that you know what you need to know and discover things that you didn't know before. I believe in you. Let's doula this, and let's navigate the transition of entering motherhood together. In this episode, we chat with Courtney, who is the founder of Lolo. Courtney shares her personal motherhood journey, including struggles with body image, confidence, and emotional challenges that she had in the postpartum period. She explains how she felt like a patient due to the very clinical looking and feeling type of postpartum products that she was using. That inspired her to create Lolo, which has seriously just transformed sterile necessities into these beautiful functional accessories. We discuss self-care, social media pressures, and why it's just so important to give yourself grace during this time period. Courtney encourages moms to embrace their unique journey, document their experiences, especially through photos, and remember that these difficult moments are temporary. We had such a light, casual conversation that you'll enjoy listening to. And with that, let's jump into the episode. Hello, and welcome to Entering Motherhood. I am super excited to get started and have this conversation. But before we do, how about you go ahead and introduce yourself for the listeners?
Absolutely. First of all, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here. I am Courtney. I am the founder of Lolo, and we are a modern postpartum company that is turning stale and sterile products into beautiful postpartum accessories for new moms, the women who deserve pretty accessories the most.
Yes, I love that. And there is something about making it pretty and cute and having things that, you like to have around. And it is sometimes maybe not the most pleasant things. And so adding that little touch to it can make all the difference in that postpartum period.
Yeah, absolutely. When I was going through postpartum, especially with my first, not really understanding what postpartum was like until I was actually in it, I just wanted a little bit, a small piece of myself back. I kind of felt out of body. And I know a lot of moms feel that and don't really understand that feeling. And as I looked around at all of the products I used, they just made me feel like a patient. They were so stale and sterile and clinical. And I just wanted a little bit of my old self back. And at that point, I was like, wait a second, why are these products like this? We just went through a ginormous transformation in our life, probably the biggest one ever. And if there's anyone who is more deserving of pretty things, it is a new mom.
Yes. Yeah. So let's kind of then backtrack into your entrance to motherhood and kind of give us a little insight on, how old your kids are now and then what it was like when you first became a mom.
Yes, absolutely. So I have three kids. My stepdaughter is almost 11, my son is 6, and my littlest daughter is 4. And I was so lucky to be a stepmom before I actually became a mom of my own children. And I was so excited to give her a sibling. But with that being said, I didn't realize what postpartum was like until I was actually in it and going through it. Like I had mentioned before, I did my research. I thought I knew what I was getting into, but until you actually have that feeling and you're going through postpartum for the first time, you can't really explain what it's like. And it's so different for every single mom. You can listen to stories and hear feedback from everyone else, but until you're in it in your own experience, that's really when you start understanding what postpartum is and what it's going to be like for you and your story. And it was really hard for me. I felt really uncomfortable in my new body. I just felt like I wanted a little piece of my old self back. I didn't know what I was doing. I felt really scared. I didn't want to make any mistakes with my baby. He was so precious. And so, it's like that mama bear instinct kicks in and you'll do anything to protect your baby and you want to keep them so at peace and do everything right. And you don't want to disturb them or who they are as a little human, right? Like all the pressure's on you. And I just really struggled through those first few months of postpartum and kind of understanding what motherhood was and who I was going to be and who this new little baby was.
How was pregnancy for you?
I had an easy pregnancy, but I did not enjoy it. I just didn't enjoy my body changing, and it just wasn't my favorite thing, to be honest. It's
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Now it's
Yeah.
so crazy to me, and I always say once the baby's out, it's so weird, like, your body just feels like it goes back to kind of like its normal thing. Obviously, it doesn't look the same, but it's such an odd feeling that one night you're sleeping and you're super uncomfortable, and the next night you're sleeping and there's no belly there anymore. It's such a wild thing, but yes,
Yeah.
pregnancy was not my favorite.
Yeah, it is like such a weird sensation. And it's like right now, like with my older two being 6 and 4, with this baby being born, right after she was born, they were like, wait, I don't understand. Like, you still kind of have a belly, but like, here's the baby. Like, how did the baby come out of you? And like, my
Yes.
son was like, do you have another baby in there? Like, are you pregnant again?
Yes.
And I was
Yeah.
like, no, like, like it's going to get smaller. And then like, he was like, watching the progression of that change. And he would be like, oh, like, your belly is getting smaller, mommy. Like now, like, and like baby's getting bigger. So it's cool for them to see that
Mhm.
progression and like that change. But yeah, like going through it and seeing your body just shift so dramatically in such a short period of time, it can be a lot, and like something that like maybe you don't see other women go through because you're not with them those like initial first 2 weeks, even when so much change is drastically happening.
Yeah. I also think that there's a lot of pressure put on pregnant women and mothers to just really enjoy the experience and love pregnancy. And you hear all these stories about, oh, I just loved so much when I was pregnant. And that's not always reality. And that's okay. Not everyone's story is going to be the same. I mean, you don't have to love being pregnant. But I think a lot of what we see as pregnant moms is women loving this stage and loving their belly and I just want other moms to know that if you don't feel like that, that's okay.
Yeah, what do you feel like you, I guess, struggled with the most in postpartum?
For me, I think it was definitely my body image for sure and just really being confident in who I was. Like when my baby came out, I was terrified. I was so scared. I didn't know how to hold him or I was like scared to change his diaper. I just wasn't comfortable in who I was and wasn't exactly sure how I should feel. And as that time goes on, you start building your confidence and realizing that you can do it and that you are capable. And that's just the progression. I was so grateful that my husband had been through it before with my stepdaughter and he knew what he was doing because the moment I left the hospital, I did not want to leave. I was terrified to leave. And the moment I got into the car, I started bawling my eyes out because I was so scared to take this little baby home because they literally just, you walk out of the hospital and they expect you to take care of this human that you've never done this before in your life and there's no manual and you just have to figure it out. And I was so, so grateful in that moment that he had been through it before and that he could support me and support us through the transition and bringing the baby home. But yeah, it was just anytime I go back to those thoughts and where I was in those first few days of postpartum, it was just such a crazy feeling.
Yeah, it is a really wild experience. You're having this baby, and then all of a sudden, now if you are having a hospital birth, like you're traveling with them, and that was our first was a hospital, and then our second was like still in hospital, but I was completely unmedicated at that time, and then this third one was at home, and that difference between like she never went into a car seat, our youngest, until she was 2 weeks old, and
Wow.
so like thinking back on my first and hearing like even, like, my own self say, like, okay, like, 2 days, like, after she was born, she was in a car seat driving, home, and they're so itty bitty, and they are, like, so fragile and you're like, "Is this okay?" Like, is and most of the time, you're probably, like, sitting in the back seat with them and, like, just, like, completely attached to them because they were so much a part of your body,
Mhm.
and now they're not,
Right.
and that can be, like, there's all these what ifs and unknowns when they're inside our womb, and we're trying to, like, process that, but then when they're out, there's, like, all these other things that you think about that you're like, "Wait, like, how do I manage them? How do I change the diaper? Am I holding them
Yes.
right?" So, I think, like, a lot of those thoughts just kind of, like, continue and build upon each other
Mhm.
in now them being out here in the real world.
Yeah, yes, absolutely, absolutely. It's so crazy and, I took the classes and I took the birthing classes, but until you're actually going through it, it's a completely different ride. And now that I look back on my postpartum journey, I was so worried about the baby sleeping, or is he sleeping too much? He's not going to sleep at night. He's not feeding every 2 hours. Like, I was so regimented in his
Yes.
schedule, and because I didn't want anything to happen to him, and I was like, "Okay, well, if I stick to a schedule, then everything should go perfect." But now looking back at it, I wish I just would have enjoyed that time a little bit more and been more at ease and at peace with the process and understanding that he's a baby and not everything's going to go perfect, and that's okay. And I just wish I would have given myself a little bit more grace in that period to enjoy a little bit more and not try and be so strict on what I was supposed to be doing or I should be doing based on
Yeah.
what other people were telling me.
Yeah. How did things differ with your youngest then?
I think when anytime you become a mom of 2, you feel a little bit more confident because you've been through it before and you kind of know what's going to happen for the most part. Like they always say, with baby 2, it's the baby 1, you're making all their food by, in the blender, and baby 2 got food pouches. It becomes more trying to manage a toddler and a baby versus just understanding how to take care of a baby.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was definitely a different mindset. My son has always been very energetic and a wild and crazy boy, so I just wanted to make sure that I was able to keep up with him and give him the attention I needed, knowing that the baby was gonna be okay.
Yeah.
She was gonna be
Yeah.
fine doing what she was doing.
Yeah, it is a lot when you have to now divide your attention between
Mhm.
multiple children, and when they are still so little, and you do have to make sure, they're not getting into something, or they're not, falling over, or eating something that they
Yeah.
shouldn't, or whatever it might be,
Yes.
and having, yeah, that closer age gap can be really challenging because they're still working out the kinks, and
Yes.
very much, dependent on you as well. And
Absolutely.
now here you are with this little newborn that is also
Mhm.
demanding and needing attention, and you want to cuddle them and love on them and be there, but you
Yeah.
have, to divide that and split that.
Mhm.
So yeah,
Yeah.
that can be a lot. So when did you, start getting into the business mindset of what you do now, and how was that process?
Yes. So I came up with the idea when I had my son and I never acted on it. And then the same idea came up when I had my daughter. And I was lucky enough to be a stay at home mom for the first 3 years while my son was born and then while I had my daughter. But I was really looking to get back into work and kind of having my own thing. But I went back to corporate, and I was not home enough, and I hated being away from my kids and feeling like I had to be at the office from 7 a.m. to 4 a.m., and I was only getting 3 hours with them, and I still wanted to be a mom and be a part of their life, but I still wanted to have something on my own, and I had, thrown the idea out to my husband several times about wanting to do this, but I was so scared and terrified to go for it. I don't have any background in entrepreneurship whatsoever. I have never done anything like this. So to start something completely new that I had never done before felt very scary for me. And he really urged and pushed me to take the leap and go for it. And so I did. And that's when I started Lay Lolo. I started with our first product, which was the colored nipple shield. And when I was designing it, I wanted to make it a beautiful accessory for new moms. And from there, it sparked the idea of, you know what, everything that we use can be made to be beautiful. And if there's anyone who is deserving of beautiful accessories, it's a new mom. So I started taking products that moms use and just making them, first of all, number one, they had to be functional and then changing them to be a little bit more beautiful. And that's really how Lay Lolo started and how we are continuing to grow. It's become so much more than just products to me. It's really become a mission to put the focus back on mom and make sure that we are caring for moms, because if a well cared for mom is a well cared for baby, and that's really important. And I think we're at the point now that we really need to shift the culture and understand that moms are number one, and moms should be number one.
Yeah, I think that's super important because a lot of times, especially, on baby showers and things like that, you're putting all these things on your registry and you're thinking, what do I need for baby? And
Hmm.
oftentimes it's very overlooked. What do I need for me? And so we hear a lot about, baby's going to need this and baby's going to need that. And how are you feeding your baby or where are they going to sleep? And you're beautifying the nursery and you're making all those things look cute. And baby's got all these cute little clothes and things like that. And it's like, okay, like maybe you get a pair of pajamas that are super comfy and like splurge on something that's gonna, make you feel a little bit nicer postpartum, but you're not thinking like all those little details of what am I gonna need and how is that gonna make me feel? And what are these products that they're giving us
Yes.
that are
Yes.
very useful and helpful and needed, but yeah, you're not getting that, like extra special little like care added on. And
Hmm.
most of the time you're probably not even hearing about these products like a nipple shield until you need it, you
Yes.
know? And
Absolutely.
somebody's maybe suggesting it or if you're having latch issues and whatnot. And so yeah, it's really awesome to see that being brought into the space. And like you said, like we're just as important and we need cute stuff and
Hmm.
we need practical, useful things also.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that is 100% the goal with Lay Lolo, is that moms feel confident putting these products on their registry, maybe because they're a little bit prettier and they don't look like sterile clinical medical items. It can be packaged in a nice box and the product can be functional and beautiful. And it gives you a little bit more confidence in putting it on your registry. Or when you have guests over at your house to see the baby, you don't feel like you have to hide them. They are a part of your surrounding, and you're okay with being confident in how you are taking care of your baby and taking care of yourself. And you don't feel like you have to throw all your stuff in a drawer, because that's how I felt. I was just embarrassed by the products I had to use to take care of myself because of the way they looked. And I don't ever want a mom to feel that way. I want her to feel confident in what she's doing and confident in the products that she's using, that she's okay if everyone around her sees them.
Is there a story behind the name?
So there actually is a story behind the name. I had another name and I went to go get it trademarked, and the lawyer was like, "No way, that's way too common. You cannot trademark that." So my husband and I went back to the drawing board and I was like, "Oh my goodness, what am I going to name this company?" And we came across the word Lay Lolo, and it actually means the boob or a woman's breast in French, which is like a nice play on words. And to be honest, I don't know that we're probably not saying it the proper way that, a beautiful French accent would say "lay Lolo," but for us Americans, it's "lay Lolo."
I love it. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
so interesting, like, how, names and things and such that develop and how they come, and even, with, like, naming our babies, like, your company is almost like another little baby that, like, you got to, like, name and have, like, a name picked out for,
Yes.
and
Yes.
so
It was
yeah.
it was certainly a blessing in disguise that the first name did not work out.
Yeah, very
Yes.
cool. So what have you enjoyed the most about creating these products, and what have you kind of gotten as far as, like, feedback, like, if you had close friends and family use these products as well?
Yeah. Those 2 are very similar in my answer as to the best part about this is hearing moms and how we are impacting their journey of bringing them just a little bit more beauty to their postpartum journey. I hope and my goal is that every single time a mom uses a Lolo product, that it's a physical reminder to her that she is beautiful, worthy, strong, and that if she's feeling down in that moment or that she's feeling like this is really hard, it's just a reminder to her that she can do it and it's just a moment in time. And every time she picks up one of our accessories, I hope she is reminded exactly of that, and to hear stories of moms using our products and having those experiences is just so heartwarming to me and really what keeps me going because it's definitely not easy and we're certainly learning as we go, but when I feel like anytime I'm down or I'm feeling like, oh my goodness, I'm just kind of in a really tough spot, I get a piece of feedback like that or an amazing story from a mom and it just keeps me going every single day. It's incredible.
Yeah. How do you feel
Mhm.
like these products would have changed your postpartum?
Yeah, I think it would have brought a little bit of more peace and care and just understanding to how I was feeling and being okay with how I was feeling. I think a lot of moms and including myself can feel bad for having thoughts of not loving this experience or not being at peace or happy with where they are in postpartum. And that's okay. It's okay to feel that way, and it's okay if it's not perfect, and if you don't love it, you shouldn't feel bad about that whatsoever, and that's my hope is for Lolo is that they are feeling that way, that they understand that nothing's wrong with you. It's very normal and it's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I think,
Mhm,
like, there's so much, even just, I mean, our kids are like, our 6 and 4-year-old are right at the same age, and so there's so much now too, I think, in this mom culture, whether, it's because I've dove into it more and, I have an older kid and stuff, but, like, there's a lot of just, like, conversation, like you said, like, sometimes we're having these feelings and having these emotions and we think like we're all alone in it, or nobody
mhm,
else is feeling like this, or we can't open up and talk about those feelings, or it seems different, like there's a lot of, I guess, just like polarized sort of, it needs to be this way or that way.
mhm, mhm,
and and I think it's like, one, it's great that like more people are talking and opening up about it and having these conversations, but two, like it can be a lot and a lot like overwhelming, and so to just be reminded of that, I think is really important, and that like mental side of it and our
yes.
identity and really discovering, like who we are in this journey and in this
Mhm.
process.
Absolutely. Hit it right on the nail. That's 100%. A lot of our lives have become pictures and Instagram stories or TikTok videos, and it's easy to see the happy things, and then you feel like you have to be that way, and that's not necessarily the truth. And you can be happy one minute and sad the next, and that's fine too, right? Like there's
Yes.
so many emotions and ups and downs, and there's no right way or right story or right way to be. You just have to own how you're feeling and be at peace with that.
Yeah, yeah, and I love how you said worthiness, like, earlier too, and, like, just
Mhm.
feeling like we do deserve these things, and it's okay to also care for ourselves and have that attention on us, and it's a big shift after birth and
Mhm.
coming into the postpartum period and having all of these new feelings and sensations and emotions and things going on.
Yes. Yeah. No, absolutely. You gave me goosebumps when you said that because it's so true. The moment you become a mom, you are 1000% locked into baby. That's just the instinct we have as mothers is to take on that new role and do it the best that we can. But we also have to remember that in order to be the best caretaker for our baby, we really have to put ourselves first and make sure that we are putting self-care at the top of our priority list.
Yeah, and that can look different for everybody. What I guess
Absolutely.
is your favorite form of self-care as a mom?
Yeah, so, it's changed a little bit as my kids have gotten older, but when I was postpartum, journaling was
Mm.
absolutely a game changer for me, which is why I created the postpartum journal that we have at Lolo, because it was such a huge piece of my mental health that kept me going and just kept me on track. Now for me, I really like exercise is my thing. Like it's really important for me to move my body and that keeps my energy high and keeps me feeling great. And I do still journal because it's so important to me, but also listen to there's an amazing app called Activations that I am absolutely obsessed with. It's basically just small activations of motivation and you can listen to different little snippets to kind of increase your motivation or your productivity or get you ready for bed or think about your day or manifest, whatever that looks like. And I just love those. But you're so right. It's so different for everyone. You just have to find what that piece is for you and what works for you and makes you feel great.
Yeah. What would be one piece of advice or something that you would want a new mom to know, whether they're, currently pregnant or newly postpartum and going through this stage?
Yeah. Your journey is your journey and don't compare your journey to anyone else. For myself and for me postpartum, like I mentioned before, just give yourself grace, give yourself peace, and just remember this time in your life is so short. Probably every single day, I just wish that my babies could be small again. And even on the really, really hard days, just try and give yourself a little bit of grace and remind yourself that one day you'll wish these days were back again.
I know. It's so hard. It's such a common thing that people are
Mhm.
like, yes,
I know.
try to embrace it and see how little they are. And it's but it's also
Mhm.
so hard. And it
I
feels
know.
like the days are so long. In the beginning, I remember just, between my first and now our third, it just felt like everything lasted so much longer. It was
Mhm.
they were going through a fussy phase and it was taking forever or, it just even the littlest cries and things like that. You're like, "Oh my gosh, it needs to be fixed immediately." It can
Yes.
just feel so much and then yeah, it's looking back on it and sometimes it takes a step back to really get in that moment and embrace it. But yeah,
I know, I
it
know. It's so much easier said than done, right? Like, it's so
yeah.
easy to say, "Enjoy this moment, it's not gonna last." I feel like an old woman now because the grandparents are like, "Oh, just enjoy every moment, it goes by so fast." That's like me now.
And it goes by faster with each kid too.
It
This is,
really does.
our youngest
Yeah.
is already 4 months and I'm like,
Mhm,
"How in the world have we already, you know, got through that initial postpartum period and where has time
mhm,
gone?" And like I said, just looking back on our first, it felt like we were in that stage forever.
mhm. I
And
know.
so,
I know,
yeah.
I know. I do I give that advice, but at the same time, I'm like, "Is that good advice?" Because I understand how tough it is when you're in it. You are in the trenches to really take a step back and be like, "Oh, I love this." You know what I mean? Like, it's not
Yeah.
I don't know if that's really realistic, but if you do need to, step away for 30 seconds and just take a deep breath to try and reconnect with yourself, sometimes that can be exactly what you need to keep yourself going.
Yeah, I think it really is like, yeah, like being able to just be in that present moment, no matter what it is, and just like kind of take that snippet and that screenshot of the moment and just
Yes.
remember what it's like, whether it's, ups, downs, everywhere in
Mhm.
between.
Mhm, mhm. This is so random. I don't know why I just had this thought, but for the pregnant moms out there, take pictures of yourself because you are going to want those pictures. I promise. Even if you're not comfortable in your body in this exact moment, you will appreciate those. And because I wasn't comfortable and I didn't enjoy pregnancy that much, I didn't take very many pictures. And now I wish that I had more of me and my belly.
Mhm.
And even in those first postpartum moments when like you're feeling soft and you don't feel great about yourself, you will want those. So don't miss out on the moment to be in the picture, even if you're not feeling like your best self.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, that's such a good thing to be reminded of because a
Mhm.
lot of times, yeah, like maybe we don't want to be in the picture because we don't like how we currently look or we're not like
Mhm.
feeling ourselves or whatnot. But you will want to like, look back and have those images and, even like little video clips or something. Like it doesn't
Yeah.
have to be like a whole bunch of things, but just little, like I said, like that, like those moments in time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I definitely wish I had more of those.
Yeah, awesome.
Mhm.
Well, how can we get in touch with you? How can we reach you? How can we, get your products? Tell us a little bit more about that.
Absolutely. So our website is www.wearelelolo.com. That's WeareLello. And we are on Instagram and TikTok at We Are Lolo. And we would love for you to join us over there and be friends.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
definitely put all that in the show notes for everybody
Awesome.
to
Thank you.
get and check you out. And yeah, I just thank you so much for being here and really, sharing a little bit about your story and the start of your company and what all kind of went into that.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It was lovely to talk with you. And that sweet baby. Look at her.
I
Oh
know.
my goodness.
I know.
I
I've
just
been
want to
saying she's
squeeze
my
her.
little
Uh,
co-host in all these
I love
episodes.
it. Who could you want? But I mean, if that's not the best co-host
Oh,
I've ever
no.
seen, I don't know who
Oh,
is.
no. She loves it too. She has been our chillest baby yet.
That is so, oh my goodness. Hey, sweet girl. Oh, give me another one.
Keep on having babies. Thank you, mamas, so much for listening. Remember, you are a rock star. I believe in you. Let's doula this. Let's crank it up a notch and let's kick it into high gear together. Hit that subscribe button, share this episode with a friend, message me, email me, call me, beat me. You know how to reach me. We're doing this, mamas. I am so excited to catch you here next week. This is your one-stop go-to place for helping you find the resources you need to make the best choices for you and your family during pregnancy, birth, and most importantly, postpartum. See you later, mamas.